What's up, everybody? This is Couz. I'm here with Golden Blue Dude. We're here on the Mark Rogers Voice of College Football channel. Hope everybody's having a good night. Welcome to the West Virginia Football live stream. How you doing tonight, Golden Blue Dude?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I actually did a live show earlier, trying to get some excitement on this live show. So hopefully it worked. I guess we'll see, right?
We will find out. We're going to talk about a lot. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. We're going to talk about, obviously, we'll have to touch on the new coaching, the new coach, the new, some of the transfer portal stuff. And obviously, we're going to talk, you and I are going to debate a couple things. We're going to debate the move to the ACC. Is that actually going to happen? And we will debate, are we still trusting the climb or are we embracing the fall?
There you go. I like it. What we want to do is we want to switch it up to where we present our cases and then, our audience can make up their mind on what side they would choose.
Sounds like a plan. And what I want everybody to do to help us out as we're talking about these issues, put in the comment box what your opinion is on these things. We want to hear from you guys. Okay? Without you guys, this doesn't work. You guys are what makes the boat, or what rows the boat.
Exactly right.
I shouldn't have said that. That's Minnesota's slogan.
Hey, well, they already beat us, so, I'll
right.
use it. I don't care. And don't forget to hit the like button. The more people we get in here, the more votes we can get, the more talk back and forth. Hey, arguing is not necessarily a bad thing. As long as you're not personal or anything like that, going back and forth, presenting your case, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
All right. So do you want to go ahead and talk, or do you want to get to a couple of these comments real quick? Hey, what do you want to do?
Hold on one second. I have it on private chat, so let me switch it over. There we go. All right, I see the comments. Well, I see we have Josh Scritchfield, we have Joey Foster, West Virginia guy, and Michael Dehart. Thank you guys for dropping by. You guys are the first to be watching, so we need you to hit the like button, get more people in there, and then they hit the like button, and that's how this thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I guess the first thing we can talk about is the big thing, trusting the climb or embracing the fall. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to talk about reasons why you should trust the climb, or maybe some reasons why the climb is turning into a fall. So I'm going to let Couz start us off and give us some reasons why we should actually keep trusting the climb.
Well, I think it's obvious why we should keep trusting the climb. And that is the fact that Neal Brown did what everybody wanted him to do. He proved to us that he is able and willing to step back from the play calling duties, and he's willing to hand the ball off to somebody else, no pun intended, and hired an offensive coordinator. And not only did he hire an offensive coordinator, he hired an offensive coordinator with a great reputation in a great track record in Graham Harrell. So that's why, and then you add in the fact that we have a top 25 recruiting class. You add in the fact that we have a potential superstar quarterback coming in Nico. Then I don't see how you can't trust it.
Yep, you have some good reasons. What I would push back with that, as far as maybe we're not climbing anymore, is, it took some pretty bad, a pretty bad season for him to make that decision. I would like to see Neal Brown address issues immediately and not wait until he has immense pressure from the fan base to make switches. So I like what you're saying. I like that he did finally hire a good offensive coordinator. Yes, I like the hire a lot, but he needs to start making these decisions quicker instead of waiting until things get really, really bad. And, we were all kind of expecting an 8-4, maybe a 9-3 type of season. And we actually ended up with a 6-7 type of season. And if you look at 2020, that's a regression. So he has a lot to prove. And I hope he does prove that the climb is still going in 2022. But if you look from 2020 to 2021 and him kind of dragging his feet to make those decisions, it does kind of make you raise your eyebrows and hope that needs to stop. And so the next focus needs to be on that offensive line, not necessarily switching the offensive line coach. I know that's what a lot of West Virginia fans are calling for right now. But not necessarily that. It's just we need to see some massive, massive improvements on the offensive line for sure.
I agree with the improvements, but here's the kicker. By the way, we are now simulcasting on the Voice of College Football main channel. For those of you who are not familiar with who we are, I am Couz. I host Couz's Corner on YouTube. Please go check me out. It's spelled COUZ''S. If you don't put the apostrophe in, it'll pop up. And I'm joined by Golden Blue Dude. We are two West Virginia fans. We are debating. First off, we want to give a shout out to Mark for letting us use his platform and his channel. But Golden Blue Dude and I are debating, do we still trust the climb at West Virginia, or are we embracing the fall? So I understand about the offensive line and agree to an extent, but here's the kicker. Matt Moore was the offensive line coach at Texas Tech, from what I understand, when Graham Harrell played there. So I have faith that that guy can get the job done because he's apparently done it before, and he and Harrell are of the same mindset as far as how they want to run an offense and what kind of blocking scheme they want to use. So for that reason and for the other two reasons I laid out, I'm still trusting the climb.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think this upcoming season, 2022, will kind of make your decision for you? Like, if we take another step backwards or we're still stuck in the mud, do you kind of maybe do a 180 and be like, I don't know now because, he's made those switches. We had a great recruiting class, but we're still not getting any fruit from that. What's your position going into the 2022 college football season for West Virginia?
I feel like we should be – I definitely feel like we have to make some progress. I don't think another 6-win season is going to cut it. I do feel that way, but I'm confident that that's not going to happen. I'm confident we're going to win at least 8 games in 2022. I feel like we'll beat Pitt. They're losing a lot. Obviously, they got Keaton Slovis coming in, but I still don't think they're going to have enough to take care of. I mean, our deep work, we got Smito coming back. We got Steels. Pretty much our whole defensive front is coming back.
Yep.
Plus, we've got, like I said, we got a whole offensive line coming back. I think we have a lot more pieces coming back than what Pitt has. Now, look, I'm not an expert on what Pitt's roster looks like, but that's just my understanding. So if there's a Pitt fan watching, you can correct me in the comment section. But and definitely, we're both losing quarterbacks, so that's kind of a toss-up, I guess, if you look at it that way. But I'm a lot more confident in beating Pitt. Virginia Tech's a dumpster fire right now.
Yep.
They're going to have a new coach. I feel like we can beat them. Even if we can win one of those games and obviously beat our FCS opponent and start the season 2-1. Should be 3-1 because we got Kansas as well
in Kansas in that stretch. Yeah.
So if we can start the season 3-1, then I feel really good about where we're going, and I'm confident we'll do that.
Yeah, I think the big thing that I'm a little I don't know, back and forth on is I think West Virginia is in a good spot on the defense. I think we're I mean, if you look at from 2020 to 2021, we lost a lot of our starters, of our production, and we weren't elite like we were in 2020, but we were still really good. Our defense kept us in football games. It's the offense. So if we don't see West Virginia, starting to be able to move the ball, at least start flipping the field. It's not always about scoring points. Yes, that's what wins you the games, but our offense was so bad we couldn't even flip the field most of the time. So we need to at least start to gain yards, flip that field, move the chains, score some points, shorten the game if we need to, just whatever it takes, whatever the game plan needs to be. Let's get out, I would say 8 wins. 7 wins, that is on the fence. I would really have to go back and look at the season and see who we lost to, why we lost, all that stuff. But if we win 8 games, then I would be back on board 100%. But right now, going into this, I think this is a season that Neil Brown has something to prove, and especially on offense. But I do like the recruiting class. I like the Graham Harrell hire. You mentioned earlier that Pitt got in Keaton Slovis, and I did a video on that. And the way I kind of phrased it was, we see you, Pitt, with Keaton Slovis, and we raise you, Graham Harrell. What do I mean by that? Well, we got the guy that knows the guy. Pitt got the guy in Keaton Slovis. we got the guy that knows the guy, because Graham Harrell was Keaton Slovis' offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. So he knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses, he knows his tendencies, he knows what he likes to stay away from, his go-to, all that stuff. So I do like that matchup against Pitt because, look at the West Virginia Minnesota game. We didn't really think it would be that big of a factor, them having one of our guys that knows our defense. It looked like it did. So now the roles are going to be reversed, and we'll have the advantage. And I do think that will play a factor in the backyard brawl.
I totally agree 100% with you on that piece. I feel like we have a little bit of an advantage there with that, because the coach is going to know a lot more what the quarterback's thinking than the quarterback's going to know what the coach is thinking, in my opinion. Now, somebody asked what channel we're on. We are on the West Virginia channel on Mark Rogers Network, and we are also simulcasting on the main Voice of College Football channel. For those who have, or I think Lewis Papp asked that question.
Yep.
Lewis, we are on both channels, my man.
And if you're wondering, like for each of us, we have our own channels. If you want to find, I'm pointing the wrong way. If you want to find Couz, just look up Couz's Corner. That's spelled Couz's Corner. And for me, Going and Blued. So we're simulcasting on the West Virginia channel, the Voice of Motown, West Virginia Football at the Voice of, not Motown, the Voice of College Football. I do that almost every time. I'm telling you right now.
It's all good.
And Mark Rogers' main channel, the Voice of College Football. But we also have our own channels. So when you're done here, don't forget to go check out Couz's Corner. Wrong way. Couz's Corner and Gold and Blued. Hit the subscribe button. Me and Couz, we're at it all the time. We like to collaborate and do videos like this. And I have a lot of fun. I don't know about him, but I have a lot of fun.
I do. And I just put in the chat the proper spelling of my channel.
There you go.
If you don't use the apostrophe, you'll get some restaurant in who knows where. So, because there's apparently a restaurant called Couz's Corner.
Awesome.
Somewhere in the United States. So if you put the apostrophe in on YouTube, it'll come up.
Very important. Don't forget that.
When I first started, it wouldn't come up. So I've actually gotten big enough now to where I actually show up in YouTube search now. Anyway.
I see a comment by Roger Dodger. Graham Harrell is a real nice guy, but he didn't exactly succeed at USC. I wish him well, and change of scenery may help. Succeed, well, you got to look at the entire picture. I think you're thinking of succeed as, did USC succeed? And the year before last, they actually had a really good season in 2020. Now, last year, they were a dumpster fire, but it wasn't the offense's fault. If you look at USC's offense under Graham Harrell, average top 20. Last year was their lowest ranking under Graham Harrell, and it was 24th. At one point, they were at number 11th. So as far as him not being a success, I would actually say he did very well at USC, and I think he's definitely right off the bat going to raise the level of West Virginia's offense. At least I'm hoping.
Absolutely. Mr. Eugene Napoleon has joined us, everybody. Welcome Eugene Napoleon to the chat. He says, these are two awesome shows with great content. I appreciate the kind words. Eugene has a channel of his own. Go check it out.
Yeah, check out his channel.
It's called Napoleon's Corner. And Joey says, what if I'm hungry, Couz? Well, then go eat at Couz's Corner, I guess. That's all I can tell you. But I don't know where it's at. But
you should go look up Couz's Corner, eat there while watching Couz's Corner.
You know what? I should do that sometime and make it.
There you go.
I should do a live stream eating at Couz's Corner.
I don't care if it's in Oregon. You're going.
I don't know about that. All right. Now let's talk about the other issue. Let's stay on that subject for a second. I want to address that as well. The Graham Harrell at USC thing.
All right.
I've been doing a lot of research and reading up on Graham Harrell and what USC fans think, and it's kind of a mixed bag. A lot of fans don't like his play calling. They felt like he abandoned the run too much,
which is crazy. I mean, we actually kind of need that.
Well, I mean, he's an air raid guy. What do they expect? Now,
right.
I know not all air raid guys pass it continuously. That's Mike Leach, but I feel like he probably did what he needed to do based on the weapons he had. Neil Brown said in an interview the other day that he and Graham had this discussion before they made the decision. Graham Harrell wants to run the football. He and Neil agreed on that. And that was one of the things Neil wanted. He wanted an offensive coordinator that wanted to make sure that we could run the football. So I don't think he would have brought him in were he not willing to run the football and make that a priority. So I don't I don't think that concerned. What happened at USC? To me, you also got to take a look at what he did at North Texas. Everybody wants to forget about what he did at North Texas. North Texas was in the bottom 25 in the country in offense when he took over.
Yep.
Within 1 or 2 seasons, he had them in the top 25 in offense and was there like 3 seasons in a row. Held them there every year. So
Yep.
you can't just look at one season or one job he did. And I mean, USC's offenses were still top 10 and top 20 offenses every year, even though they were losing. But you got to realize, I mean, we experienced this. If your defense continuously put your offense in a bad spot, which they were doing,
Yep.
West Virginia, we were the opposite. Our offense kept putting our defense in tough spots.
Yep.
And it was the opposite at USC. So they were probably, I didn't watch a whole lot of USC games, so I'm not going to try to be an expert, but just in knowing what I know about football, if you're constantly having to go the distance of the field, and you're always losing the field position battle, or your defense, can't get off the field, and it puts all the pressure on your offense. That's hard to overcome. I don't care how good of an offensive coordinator you are.
Yeah, I agree with that. And people are forgetting that he's keeping Jared Parker along with Graham Harrell. So it's not going to just be, hey, you're calling everything, no strings attached, nothing like that. So he does have Jared Parker to keep him in check as far as not abandoning the run. So I think that's a pretty smart move as well.
And Chad Scott, who I think, in my opinion, is a very underrated running backs coach.
Yes.
Those guys love him in that room.
Oh, they're totally bought him. They're totally bought in on him.
Absolutely. All right. I had somebody in the chat mention West Virginia going to the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do that, though, we got a lot of chats coming in. See if I can get to all of them. We can't get to all of them, but let's see here. Let's address some. I don't address the channel we're on. We're going to address the ACC issue in a minute. The West Virginia fans want to go to the ACC or stay where they're at. It's a mixed bag, SEC dog. Some want to go, some want to stay.
Yeah.
West Virginia needs to partner up with Pat McAfee and start an NIL program. I could go along with. We actually have a company called Toothman Ford in northern West Virginia that has been given several guys NIL deals, including Nico Marchiol. Just got one.
Yep.
So shout out to Toothman Ford. They're not the only one, but they're the most recent one I've seen, and they're really promoting all over social media.
One thing real quick. I would encourage, if you're a West Virginia fan watching this show, I saw a tweet by, who was it, Taz Sherman, following the loss to Kansas. People were getting personal. West Virginia fans were getting personal, and he laid a tweet out there saying, hey, we're humans too. We try not to take it personal, but whenever we get such a truckload of negativity, it wears on their conscience. So this goes for all sports. We're talking about football. This goes for basketball, football, whatever sport you follow for West Virginia. I'm not saying that you can't criticize players, but getting personal with the players that play for the university that you pull for is counterproductive. You're not really helping them at all. What are you trying to do? Make them feel so bad that they want to do better? That's not how that works. You're going to make kids actually want to leave West Virginia. So what I'm trying to say is just try to relax on coming at players hard after a bad performance. If you look at the entire body of this year's West Virginia basketball team, it actually looks good. I'm not here to talk about basketball. I'm talking about the upcoming season. Last year with Jarrett Daggy, whenever he had bad games, and it was quite often, the fan base they crushed him. And then that one great game against Iowa State, they were praising him. I know it's difficult. I understand it. I'm a fan too. And I'm not saying you can't get mad either. That's not what I'm saying. You have to resist going to social media, though. Whenever you're angry, try to at least wait a day or so before you get on social media and start blasting these players, because number one, you'll end up saying stuff that you don't really mean and that you regret. And number two, you might start saying stuff that actually turns players that are keeping an eye on this, that aren't at West Virginia just yet, away from West Virginia because they see how the fan base is. I saw a lot of that during the football season, and it's rolling over into the basketball season. So our fan base, I'm not saying don't be critical, don't be mad, but take it down a notch because you don't want to keep talent away. Talent's going to see that, and they might actually take a second thought if they see that our reactions are so intense. I get the passion, I get that, but these knee jerk reactions can have bad consequences.
Totally agree. And there's a difference in criticism and personal attacks.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, you and I as YouTube creators, we have to try to be honest in our assessments of games. I've never known you right to personally attack anybody.
No, that's not how you do it.
And it's not a but that goes for fans as well. That just every other fan that's on, even if you're not on YouTube doing videos, even if you're putting it on. Matter of fact, they're more likely to see your Facebook comment or your tweet than they are he and I, probably, to be honest.
Yep.
Because it's getting blasted out all over the place. So we've got to do, and I'm guilty of it. Look, I'm guilty of putting stuff on there that I don't like, and I've regretted it later. I'm not
Yep.
going to say, I'm not innocent of this either. But we got to do better as a fan base.
Yep. Me too.
Be more positive. All right.
Yep.
Talk is Pitt already talking jump. September 3rd. It's on, baby. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Yep. I'm ready.
All right. We got Jason Osborne here. Says WVU lost some wide receivers transfer portal. Any concerns with wide receiver depth? Yes and no. I say no, but I say yes because I still think we need to add some guys from the portal to offset the depth we lost. But I say no because I'm happy with the guys we still have.
Yep.
And I don't know. No, I'll let you go first, and then I got something else to say.
All right. The thing about that is people are like, well, we lost our leading receiver from last year, Winston Wright Jr. That's true, but our leading receiver from what? A bad offense. West Virginia fans contradicted themselves. What I mean by that is during the season, this is the worst offense I've seen in a long time. We need to get rid of these players. All right, season over with. A lot of those players that you were talking junk about did enter the transfer portal. Now it's like, oh man, no, we're losing all of our production. Which side is it? You can't have both sides. So the way I look at it is, yes, we did lose some of our wide receivers, but they were from a bad team. We recruited at a high level. I like what we did. This is one of our best recruiting classes. I know they're very, very young, but as far as depth goes, they can learn behind those wide receivers that stayed. Keep your eyes on Caden Prather. He will be the go-to receiver this year. And Bryce Ford Wheaton is going to have leadership. So you have the combination of athleticism and playmaker with Caden Prather. And then on the other side, you have the experience and leadership of Bryce Ford Wheaton. I think we're fine. I really do.
Totally agree. And before I say what I want to say, I got to address there's a super chat on the main channel from Mighty Go Blue. I hope I pronounced that right. Says, does West Virginia fans still hate Rich Rod?
It depends on who you ask.
I would say 50-50. There are many who do. There are many who have gotten over it, like myself. Once you have a chance to hear Rich Rod's side of the story, it might change your opinion, to be honest.
Yeah, and the extent of that is basically he left West Virginia not because he wanted a raise. He wanted his assistants to have a raise, and West Virginia said no.
Yes.
So he didn't leave for selfish reasons. He wanted his guys to get paid, and West Virginia said no. So I can't. I mean, sticking up for your guys, I can never be mad at that. Really, I mean, I was mad at the time. And the consequences of it on his way out, that was horrible. It was. But when you go back and look at the whole story, maybe not so much.
I agree totally. And by the way, Marty, I thank you for the super chat.
Thank you.
And then I had a question here. This is going to dovetail into our conference conversation. Roger Dodger. What's up, Roger Dodger? He says, isn't West Virginia closer to the Big Ten? If they move, why not there? Well, they are closer geographically, Roger, but here's the key about the Big Ten. The Big Ten is extremely strict about that AAU designation when it comes to academics. It's a requirement to even get in the conference. And West Virginia does not have that. So until West Virginia gets that, they have probably no shot at getting in the Big Ten. Don't know if they're working on getting it or not. Geographically, it would make sense, but we're not. We don't qualify academically, unfortunately.
Right.
At least not yet.
That's a good segue into what we wanted to talk about next.
Absolutely. Is West Virginia going to the ACC? You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I've been making videos about West Virginia going to the ACC back in September, and the point that I've been trying to get across to people is I didn't just formulate that opinion off the top of my head. As soon as I heard the news about Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC, I started talking to people that were connected to other conferences, people in the Big Ten, people in the ACC. Nobody in the Big Ten said anything about West Virginia. They said there for a second, we talked about them, but they don't have the accreditation. There's really no chance. All right. SEC. Well, the SEC actually did have some interest in West Virginia back in the first go around. It just didn't really pan out because of the timing. We actually were already in the Big 12 once the SEC were coming out with plans to lay out to offer West Virginia. That was a thing back then. The ACC. What I'm hearing from sources, from coaching staffs inside Clemson, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and not as strong sources in West Virginia, but sources at West Virginia, that the ACC and West Virginia have been talking for quite some time. They've actually been talking before Oklahoma and Texas announced they were going to the SEC. This has gone on behind closed doors, obviously. This is not what I'm saying. This is what they're saying. And they're saying the plan is to try to lock Notre Dame down with West Virginia. Now, the thing is, if Notre Dame is going to join a conference before 2036, it has to be the ACC because the contract that they signed says if Notre Dame joins a conference anytime before 2036, they have to join the ACC. So what I'm hearing is the ACC is actually trying to lock down Notre Dame instead of a girlfriend. They're trying to make them a wife and bring in West Virginia with Notre Dame. I think West Virginia brings something to the table to the ACC. I don't think West Virginia brings anything to the Big Ten. I really don't. I think they bring something to the SEC, but what they bring to the ACC far and away the most out of any conference, including the Big 12. Not only is West Virginia bringing in their own fan base, which is bigger than people realize. Don't go by the population that you see in the great state of West Virginia, which I think is like 1.8 million. Do not go by that statistic. I challenge everybody out there, go find you a West Virginia shirt and walk down whatever city you're going for a week. And then come back to me and tell me how many people stopped you and said, hey, you from West Virginia? What part of West Virginia? We're everywhere. We are everywhere. I live in the upstate of South Carolina. Every time I wear my West Virginia gear, we're everywhere. So do not go by that population. All right. So not only are we bringing West Virginia fan base eyeballs, but we'll bring in more Pitt eyeballs for the Backyard Brawl. We will bring in more Virginia Tech eyeballs for the Black Diamond Trophy. We will bring in more Louisville eyeballs, more Boston College eyeballs, more Syracuse eyeballs, more Miami Hurricane eyeballs. And then once we're in the ACC for a while, we'll bring in eyeballs from everybody. Because I'm telling you, once you start playing West Virginia consistently, you start to love to hate us. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, look at the Big 12. Texas downright hates our guts right now, and we hate them. Not personally, of course, but horns down all day, every day. We have a healthy rivalry with Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU, Kansas State. The only team I would argue we do not have a rivalry with is Oklahoma. They have owned us in the Big 12 in football. But in basketball, we have a good rivalry. So time would allow West Virginia to develop rivalries with everybody. And we would actually be closer to everybody. They would know us. We've developed rivalries in the Big 12, but it took us longer because they're in the Midwest. In the ACC, it wouldn't take that long. What you got?
Here's my opinion on it. Would I like to see West Virginia go to the ACC? Yes, I would. But I just think if it was going to happen, it would have been leaked to the media somewhere, somehow by now.
hold up, real quick. Before the media said that Texas and Oklahoma were going to the SEC, did you know anything about it? Anything?
No, but it came out before it actually happened, at least.
Yeah, but they had been talking for 8 months prior.
Very good point. You got me
So,
on that one. Plus,
um,
in Shane Lyons' interview the other day, he plainly come out and said the ACC has not shown interest in West Virginia.
that's
He
what
can't,
he's supposed to say.
well, but they didn't ask him that specific question. They asked him if West Virginia was going to the ACC, and he started talking, and in his answer came out and said that verbatim. So I don't think he would have come out and said that were it not true. He could have just said no, we're not. Move on to the next question. But he made a point to say the ACC has shown no interest in West Virginia.
I think he was trying to help the ACC cover their rear end because right now, that would be kind of a shady, not illegal type of thing, but the ACC would be penalized if it ever came out that they actually pursued West Virginia while we're in the Big 12. So I get what you're saying, and it does look like that means that the ACC is not interested in us. But at the same time, he could be just trying to cover the ACC's rear end. And Gordon Gee has come out and said he doesn't like playoff expansion. Lo and behold, the Big 12 does want playoff expansion. Immediately, guess what conference doesn't? The ACC.
I, I I'm aware of that too, and that is odd. But I guess Gordon Gee is speaking for himself and not for the Big 12. Is my assumption there. Uh, you could take that as meaning, yeah, he's siding with the ACC, but it could just be that he shares the same opinion with them. That doesn't necessarily mean they have to go to the conference.
Well, I would say it to me. What it came off to me is he was kind of trying to distance, not saying that West Virginia is going to the ACC or we're getting out of the Big 12, but it's almost like that first initial thing where you start distant. Whenever you're friends with somebody, you don't just come out and say, "Hey, I'm done with you. Now I'm friends with them." At first you just start distancing yourself slowly, slowly. To me, that's the way I took it. It's that first initial, we don't agree with the Big 12 on this situation. That's the first little distance. What anybody that's affiliated with West Virginia, and I'm not saying he's speaking for West Virginia, but that's the first thing we've seen from anybody affiliated with West Virginia that kind of distance themselves on the stance that the Big 12 took for playoff expansion immediate.
Yeah. Monty Go Blue asked a great question, and this is another reason I don't think West Virginia is going. Is there a big penalty for WVU if they accepted ACC invite? Yes, $80 million worth minimum. That don't even count the TV money we could lose.
Unless we could announce before 2025 and leave in 2025. That's why a lot of people are waiting on Oklahoma and Texas. Now, we all know Oklahoma and Texas, they can afford it. So a lot of people believe that they're leaving in 23 at the earliest, but they could wait till 2025. In West Virginia's case, we can announce and wait till 2025. And I think that would be, honestly, that would probably be the best move for West Virginia because West Virginia is not Oklahoma. West Virginia is not Texas. They could not afford that at all. And plus, I don't know about the TV contracts. I know they're all set to reset. There's a lot of things. There's a reason why ESPN said look for 23, 24, and 25 for more playoff expansion because there's a lot of things that are changing during that time period. So another reason why West Virginia hasn't come out and said we've been talking to the ACC or we are headed to ACC in the future is because of penalties that we've been talking about and all this other things, that are in flux. Now, from the sources that I've been talking about, that's exactly what they've been saying. They're saying that West Virginia is waiting for other things to happen before they come out and actually say, yeah, we're actually going to be going to the ACC in the future. Now, when I'm expecting West Virginia to announce, I'm just come out and say it. But whenever they announce, I'm not expecting them to say, hey, we're leaving like now or the next year. I expect them to say, we're not renewing our grant of rights. And then I don't think they'll use the word ACC in the initial announcement. I think we'll see a news article or some type of media outlet saying West Virginia not extending the grant of rights to the Big 12.
Yeah.
That's the way that I would feel about it.
And you claim your sources are on coaching staffs. Is that accurate?
Yes.
I just don't know, and I'm not. I mean, I believe you when you tell me that they're telling you that, but I don't know. I don't know that an assistant, or well, I don't know their assistant, whatever. I don't know that coaches, especially unless they're the head coach, may know. But if they're assistant coaches, I'm not sure they would even know it anyway.
Yeah, let me be clear. No head coaches. You are correct. No head coaches.
But I don't know that an assistant coach would even be in the loop on something like that anyway.
I agree. That's the thing that I have to be careful with, because that's a very good point. All right, so we've all played this game, even where you tell somebody something, they say it to the next, and from the person that starts it to the person that hears it 10 people down is completely different. So you really don't know if they're hearing the same exact information as the original person is hearing it. So that's the one thing that I'm careful of. But the thing is, whenever I do talk to these people, I'm talking to at least 4 different people on separate occasions. They don't know that I'm talking to the other person, and they're all saying the same exact thing. That's what hooked me in. It wasn't just one person being adamant about it, or another person saying the roundabout thing, and this person the story, but a different version. These guys were saying the same exact thing, and that's really kind of what made me be like, this seems pretty legit. Because I do try to be careful, because you can't, number one, you can't go by what one person says. That's you're setting yourself up for a big fall if you do that. And secondly, you can't take different stories and formulate your own story. So that's why whenever I talk to these separate guys, I was waiting to see exactly what they say, and they all said the same thing. And that's when I was honestly blown away, because I wasn't expecting that to happen. I was like, oh, this got some bite to it right there.
Yeah, I guess I'm just to the point now where I believe it when I see it stage.
Yep, I agree.
I've done
And
videos about it, and I'm getting tired of talking about it. I just want.
Yes, and you've noticed on my channel,
You have.
I've backed away. Yeah. Now today I did talk about Notre Dame. That's a whole different thing. But as far as West Virginia, because that's where the West Virginia fan base is right now. I'll believe it when I see it, and I understand that it's run its course. So now I'm waiting on announcements.
Right. Um, everybody that's on here on both channels, please press that like button. That helps get this video pushed out through YouTube, helps that algorithm. And also, if you haven't subscribed to Mark Rogers' West Virginia channel, please do that. We're trying to put West Virginia football on the map more so than it already is. We're trying to get them on equal footing to all these other programs out there. Golden Blue Dude and myself, we're very passionate about our Mountaineers, and we want to see them get the same level of coverage as all these other teams do. And he and I are trying to do that. Mark Rogers has been gracious enough to do that. Joey Foster's partner. Thank you, Joey, for your partnership in this, everything you've done. Everybody go subscribe to the West Virginia channel on the Voice of College Football's network. Also, please subscribe to my channel, Couz's Corner, COUZ''S, and then Golden Blue Dude's channel. Most of you probably already know who he is. If you haven't subscribed to our channels, please do so. We ask graciously that you do that. We appreciate everybody's support.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing this a lot. So this isn't a one and done show. And we have this rotation. Sometimes you'll see me and Couz. Sometimes you'll see Couz and Mark. Sometimes you'll see me and Mark. And we're working on Sam the Man as well. So you'll get a lot of different chemistry on here as far as the two people that you see on these interactions.
Yeah. Real quick, Michael Dehart earlier was asking about the two different streams. Michael, even though I'm one of us is we're streaming on both channels, so I can see every chat that comes through on both channels are coming up on my screen.
Yeah.
So there's no need for us to go back and forth because we can see every chat. To be honest, this is more of a conversation type live stream. We're going to get to as many chats as we can. We're not going to be able to get to all of them. We will get to as many as possible. If you definitely want us to get to your chat, do a super chat so we sort of push it to the top. But we'll get to as many as we can. Other than that, but the main purpose of this live stream tonight was just for he and I to debate these topics and just talk West Virginia football. We will get to as many comments as we can, and let's try to do that now. Anything else you want to touch on real quick while we're going through comments?
I think we covered everything down the line so far. I have a feeling that some of these comments will spark something like that one right there.
Yeah, I just Roger, I'm gonna plead the fifth and tell you to go watch the video I just published today on that topic. But it's definitely intriguing.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert: I'd love to see him come to West Virginia.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it at that.
And there's different people talking about that.
Good.
Yep.
I've been so busy editing. I've been so busy doing my outline, creating and editing that video. I haven't even had time to research that part of it yet, but I'm planning on it.
Yep. I got a question for you, Couz. What do you happen to be doing on March 11th through the 13th?
You know, I know where you're going. My wife and I have already bought tickets to a concert that weekend in North Carolina, so I won't be able to make it. Had I known the Slav Olympics were that weekend, the same band we're going to see is in Knoxville, Tennessee, the 10th of March. We could have went to that one, then drove 30 minutes down the road to Pigeon Forge, hit the Slav Olympics, and then come home. But
I would encourage you that next year, once the dates are aligned, open her up, man, because last year was the first year, and it was bigger than what we imagined. We were expecting anywhere from 8 to 12 people. We ended up with probably 40 or 50 people. Now, there was only like 20 people that competed. That's another thing. If you go, that doesn't mean you have to compete. It's just to, you meet all the YouTubers in the sports community. I don't know if Mark's going to go, but there's a lot that goes there, and it's a good competition, but it's not. You don't have to do the competition. I did the competition. I had fun. I'm going again this year, and I'll definitely be competing to try to get a little bit higher than 5th spot.
Well, I guarantee if I went, I would compete because I love to compete. And
there you go.
I was talking smack on Pigskin Pete's channel the other night. I told him, I said, y'all better hope I don't join this thing because I'm going to come and beat all y'all on the 40 and in the spelling bee.
Hey, but, 2023, man. And then once you commit, you got to start pumping out them training videos. I've already done one in the snow.
Yeah, and that's actually the same night I asked him because I knew it was coming, but I hadn't heard the dates yet.
Yeah.
Someone on Pigskin Pete's, one of his moderators, told me the dates, and that's when I got online and looked. And unfortunately, we've already bought tickets, so unfortunately, I'm not going to make this year's event, but hopefully next year.
What about? Let's see, M. Torrenge Man. I'm trying to. There's got to be some way to read that. M. Torrenge Man. Maybe I'm saying it. I don't know. Anyway, he said the entire state of West Virginia doesn't have a straight road on it. That could actually be correct.
We might have a few feet or a few hundred yards that are straight. But
a mile, that you really have to think because
that's a good point.
If you haven't been through the state of West Virginia, I would encourage you just it's a different world. Now, if you've grown up in West Virginia, it's normal. That's life. But I moved to South Carolina when I was 9. It was a lot of back and forth because my dad traveled a lot. I'm still back in the upstate, but I remember the first time we moved to South Carolina, I was like, I thought South Carolina was weird, but honestly, it's the roads in West Virginia. And I'm not talking bad about West Virginia. I'm just saying the road goes between mountains, over the river, in the capital city, Charleston, probably 8 times, 7-8 times. And rivalries are developed on if you're on one side of the river or the other. That's how rivalries in high school football develop in the state of West Virginia, because the river, especially in Kanawha County, the Ohio River Kanawha River, cuts right through downtown Charleston, and there's high schools on both sides of the river. So teams develop bridge rivalries. I remember a big one was Nitro and St. Albans, the Battle of the Bridge. That was a big one in Putnam County. So, yeah, definitely go through the state of West Virginia and look at your odometer. And if you can find a stretch of road that's straight for an entire mile, no, Okay, if you're driving, don't look at your odometer. Have somebody else look at it. Let me clear that up. And if you can find a mile that is straight in any part of the state of West Virginia, send us an email or a message on one of our channels and let us know what county, what city, what part of that stretch of that road, and because I would be very interested to know where that 1 mile of street road is.
Yeah, really. And Dennis Haiti or Hadi, I hope I didn't butcher your name, Dennis. Before I address the question, I am chatting as the voice of college football because I have control of the page at this moment. Actually, Chris and I both do, or Golden Blue Dude and I both do, I think. But I'm not Mark. So, but to answer your question, yes, I'm going to see Corn. You're correct. My wife and I have tickets to see Corn. We're going to Greensboro, I believe it is, or Charlotte one on the 11th, actually, to see Corn for the
We
fourth
actually
time.
had tickets for Garth Brooks for back in 2020, but then the pandemic hit. Postpone, and eventually they gave us our money back. But I've never seen Garth Brooks live in concert. My wife has never. That's the one person that she's wanted to see in concert more than anybody, and not happy about that.
I haven't seen him either. My wife has actually. She saw him years ago, but my wife and I we're big concert junkies.
Hey, Joey's going with me to the Slobs, right?
Yeah, I thought I heard him say. So I think I saw him comment on there about going.
He's trying to get Eugene to go. My goodness,
that's what it just said. Eugene Napoleon.
If he has a good back,
he might
his
win.
Back is still good and it's
it.
not been messed up from football. Yeah. Eugene, I'm not competing. I'm not doing it because
it's all for fun, dude. It's all for fun anyway. I would challenge.
He'll make us look silly, man. He will make us look silly.
I tell you, if I were going, the first thing I would do would be to challenge Chess Hall in the 40-yard dash. But I digress.
You went there, man.
I shouldn't.
You went there.
I honestly don't even know him, so I shouldn't talk crap.
No, you're good. Everybody that knows the Slobs probably had a little chuckle there. It's all good.
That was probably a low blow. But anyway, yeah, Eugene would definitely be tough to beat. Montana Orange Man is his name, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mountain Montana Orange Man. Okay, Montana Orange Man. Thanks for clearing that up.
Awesome.
See what other comments we got in here. I think they were saying that 2023 might be the South Carolina, I think. Myrtle Beach, hopefully. Where would it be, Bulldog?
Say that. What's he saying?
The Slob Olympics. He's saying that they're going to be in South Carolina.
Oh, that would be sweet. That's where I live, upstate of South Carolina.
Now, if they're close, I might could get my family to go because we all love South Carolina anyway.
Bring it on to Greenville. I'll go to Greenville.
Did you hear about the war between Ohio and West Virginia? They threw grenades at us, but the Ohioans pulled the pins and threw them back.
I heard about that one. Yeah, and they won. And what about them Bengals, man? I've been trying to explain to people my life of misery. West Virginia fan, not misery as in we've been bad, but misery as we've been close to the summit and we can't quite get there. But then on top of that, I've been a Reds fan, and they won the World Series back in '90, but that's been forever ago. I don't even hardly remember it. And then the Bengals, man. I don't know what made me or what steered me towards the Bengals, but I have been a lifelong Bengals fan, and we were on like a 9-game stretch of not winning the playoffs, and we finally did it. Joe Burrow, I love the interview afterwards. He's like, so what? We have bigger things to accomplish. I'm like, that. Awesome. Go get him, man. Go get him. Don't be satisfied.
I hope the Bengals make it to the AFC Championship game and they lose to my Bills. All right.
Oh, man. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
My Bills they deserve a Super Bowl, man.
Hey, you know what? If the Bills get all the way there, then I hope Cincinnati loses before we get to the Bills. Because I would say losing in the AFC Championship or losing in the Super Bowl would sting a little more than losing in the wild card or the next level. So if we do lose, I don't know, but I still want to get there. I'm conflicted, man. I'm conflicted.
I hear you. It's tough. It does sting because I went through it last year. But what's worse is losing 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that
All right,
because
Pete.
my uncle's
All
a
right,
big Dallas Cowboys fan, so I remember that.
all right, P digits. I heard the family tree in West Virginia are straight. They got two
Hey,
fork. I got there's two forks on my family tree. Okay.
yeah, you really need to be talking about the state of Alabama when you start going down that road. Seriously.
Oh lordy.
You know,
Hey,
West Virginia gets the most talk for that particular subject, but if you really look at the statistic, Alabama is bad, real bad.
I
But you
want
know
her.
what? West Virginians don't do that. We don't bring that subject up. But
We.
anybody people talk about us every stinking time.
I want everybody to understand. Marrying your cousin is illegal in West Virginia,
Illegal.
so you can stop making the jokes.
Yes.
Later on down there, he said he was just kidding. I know he was just. It was all in good fun. JT Daniels is the backup at Georgia, right? Yes, Mighty Go Blue, he is, but he is arguably a better quarterback than Stetson Bennett. But
It's because of his injuries is why he's the backup, and
he could,
then
yeah,
Kirby Smart being stubborn.
yeah. I mean, obviously it worked, so you can't say too much.
No, it didn't work. His defense bailed him out.
I
I mean,
agree,
he
but
could have had Jarrett Nagy back. I'm being
he
serious. He could
he
have had
did,
Jarrett Nagy back there, and they would have won it.
but he didn't. I mean, he did enough to win. I literally live on a
Exactly.
mountain in Monongah where Nick Saban grew up.
You know what? I was saying that the other day. I was saying I hope one day soon Nick Saban flat out gets bored at Alabama. He's made all the money he could ever spend. He's made all the money his kids could ever spend. He's made all the money his grandkids could ever spend. He gets bored. Hey, let's give her a shot back in my home state of West
Dang
Virginia.
right, dang right. But I don't. I think at his age, he'd probably hang it up.
Yeah,
But I'll take the help with
that's
someone
actually
talking.
funny. That comment right there.
Yeah, road surveyors must have one leg longer than the other. That is funny.
That's why West Virginians have the highest rate of back injuries because of that. Like, it's a real thing. Like, it's really hard to find a consistent flat area. You're either in the valley or you're on the mountain. I mean, that's life.
Yep. JT Daniels is in the portal yet, Roger? He is,
Yep.
man. Hey, speaking of that Golden Blue dude, I heard today, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that that kid out of that Division II kid that West Virginia's looking at real hard as a quarterback, Baggett,
Badgett.
whatever. I heard somebody put on Facebook or Twitter today that all the paperwork's done. It's now up to him to decide whether he wants to come or not.
Yep.
So
That is
ball's out of
correct.
his court. But now that Daniels is in the portal, do you think they? I mean, there's a part of me that hopes he doesn't make a decision right now so that we can still get a chance at JT Daniels. What are you thinking?
Where West Virginia is at as a program, I honestly think it would be better if we didn't get JT Daniels. I know he's a spectacular quarterback, but he's banged up. He doesn't have much time in college left. I'm not sure. I think he has 2 years left. So if we're going to go down the transfer portal route, I would go with the guy that we're going with right now, Badgett, and
Really?
Nico Markle. I think that's going to be a great quarterback competition. I don't want to run off Nico as well. I think he's the future of this team. So I understand people that are wanting JT Daniels at West Virginia, but I don't want to run off Nico. I think he's the future, and JT, he's really injury prone. I don't trust his body.
I understand, but he only has 1 year of eligibility, right?
1 year. Okay.
JT, and I'm asking the question: is that accurate? Because
Yes.
he played in
I was
2018.
guessing 1 or 2. You're right.
He played in 18. 19, he was injured, so that could be a redshirt year. 20, well, was injured again.
Yeah.
Well, he only played 4 games, right?
Yeah, I think he's got 2.
Well, plus it's the COVID year, so that don't count.
Yeah.
So then this year counts.
Yeah.
So maybe he does have 2. Now, if he has 2 years, you could be. But I don't look for him. If he has 1 full year and he plays well, I think he'll go to the NFL anyway. To be honest,
It's his injury proneness. If he only gotten injured once, I could let it slide because it happens to everybody. But he got injured at least 2 times. I'm thinking 3, but it might be 2. That starts. People don't realize, yes, surgery corrects things and you're fine for the most part, but it does make your body more susceptible to get that same exact injury again. I don't think that's really a tough one because he is a really good quarterback. But if you put all your eggs in the JT basket and he has an injury again, and you could have had Badgett, and his spot is taken by an injured JT Daniels, that doesn't
But
really help you as much.
I'm looking at it more from a leadership. We need veteran leadership in that room this year from somebody. And I don't know how well Badgett, even though he's going to be older, he's never played at that level. So how can he provide leadership to something he's never experienced?
I think as a quarterback, he has leadership. I understand what you're saying. Like, this is a different level,
Mm-hmm.
but whenever I look at a quarterback, it's either they have leadership or they don't. It doesn't necessarily mean at what level. Now, it's definitely the game is quicker. How will he transition in Division 1A? But as far as the leadership aspect, if he's got it, he's got it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. So I'd have to really go back and look at his game film to see how I feel about his leadership.
Right.
I get what you're saying, but JT, how would he lead though? Because he's been injured most of his career.
Well, he's still in the room. He's still there for the meetings. He's still on the sidelines. He's still talking to the guys.
But from USC to Georgia to West Virginia, how much like leadership at West Virginia is there to offer?
Well, I mean, just in playing. Well, I mean, I guess you're right in a sense that playing the position is playing the position. I guess that was kind of what you were saying.
That was the road that I was trying to lead you down as far as JT versus Badgett.
But I still think having planted at that level, he would have a little bit of an edge in that department than what Badgett would have. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my opinion.
No, I agree with you, and that's why the deciding factor for me is the injury bug.
Yeah,
I do agree with you.
Good point. And that does concern me. The injuries do concern me. Don't get me wrong, but I just think it's one of those deals you can't pass up if you get the opportunity.
Right.
Because I don't think we're getting Jackson Dart.
No. I think he's going to Ole Miss.
Yeah. All right. Ed Tallman says we're closer to being the big deal program that all rabid Mountaineer fans have lustily desired since at least the Bobby Bowden era now than we would be in the ACC. I don't know that I agree with that, Ed. I think the Big 12 is a tougher conference than the ACC.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I'm not going to say it's hurt us, but it's been a difficult adjustment for West Virginia. It makes you realize how good of a recruiting class Neil Brown has this year because ever since we joined the Big 12, recruiting for West Virginia has completely shifted, and it's difficult. You're asking kids regionally to play for your team, and their friends and family aren't going to hardly ever get to see them because they're going out to the Midwest. So the fact that Neil Brown has a top 25 recruiting class is really eyebrow raising, to be honest with you.
And one thing I've not heard anybody mention, I don't think it's a coincidence that the year that we got our new facilities upgrade, we got the top recruiting class.
Exactly.
That stuff matters.
I do agree with that 100%. And if you go look at WVU Sports, they do a tour of that. They have everything. And West Virginia is like right up there with Oklahoma and Texas now in the Big 12.
They are.
Hey, when they leave, West Virginia could be the best facility in the Big 12. I'm being serious. Straight face.
Yeah, you're right. Mike King says from Mason, West Virginia, Huntington, there's quite a bit straight road. I've driven there.
Yeah, once you get closer to Ohio, I can see that.
There is.
That would still be challenging though if you really think about it.
Just joined live. What's your thoughts on West Virginia Pitt coming in from Chesapeake, West Virginia? Sam Scruggs. Sam, I will tell you, very excited, man. The countdown's already started. We're all pumped about it. We're pumped. And to add to the storyline is the whole Graham Harrell, Keaton Slovis thing that Golden Blue didn't mention earlier. We get a chance to play our rivals for the first time in how many years?
8, I think.
At least 8, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're all pumped about it, man.
And don't forget, West Virginia 100% will have a better defense than Pitt. So the biggest question is Graham Harrell knowing the guy as far as Keaton Slovis. He was his offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. And then we have Nico and probably Badgett coming in. And Caden Prather will be the best wide receiver we have. And Bryce Ford Wheaton will be the most experienced. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I like West Virginia's chances because I don't think Pitt's going to score more than 24 points. I think they max out at 24 against West Virginia. So you got to ask yourself, can West Virginia score 24 on Pitt? I think so because Pitt's not an elite defense.
Right.
They're good defense, but not elite. And I'm not sure exactly how much. I mean, I know they get all their defensive linemen back, but we're going to have Nico and Graham Harrell, who likes to call an air raid. So we're going to test your secondary a lot more than when we had Jared Parker calling the calls and Jarrett Daggy throwing the ball.
Yes, I agree. Jeffrey Russell Jr., more shade. What do you call a room full of West Virginians, a mouthful of teeth? Well, I'm
all real, baby.
All of mine, too.
All real.
A couple of mine aren't real, but I replaced them because I chose to, not because I had to. All right. Just to look better. All right, please tell. Okay. Let's get some comments that aren't just people.
Oh.
I actually like tailgating drink. Oh, what do you think? It's moonshine, brother.
Yep.
Good
pepperoni rolls.
Pepperoni rolls and moonshine.
That's it. Which I can't wait to come back to Morgantown for more pepperoni rolls. I don't get them down here, man. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
And in West Virginia, we don't drink the store-bought moonshine either. Ours is made in the hills, brother.
Yep.
Ours is the
it's
good
got a bite to it. It's got a bite.
It'll make you twitch when you drink it.
Yeah. You'll smell through your nose better than you've smelt your entire life.
Very true. It'll open them sinuses up. I'm just picking on you. Half my family is from West Virginia. Yeah, I know you are, Jeffrey.
Okay, oh, yeah. We're picking back.
It's all in fun.
Yeah.
Dennis Haiti never met a West Virginia person that I didn't like. Can't say that for most states. Thanks, Dennis. We appreciate that.
That's a lot of people that haven't met West Virginians don't realize that fact because they hear stories and of course they believe all the weird stuff that people say about West Virginians. Once West Virginia moved to the Big 12, pretty much most of the fan bases, maybe without the exception of Texas, because the Hornets down thing, have said, hey, West Virginia fan base is actually way more friendly than what we thought. And it's just because of the stigma that's been put on us. Wait till you actually meet the West Virginia fan base before you label the West Virginia fan base.
Extremely polite. Yep. I've had the privilege of, I've had people come on, comment on my YouTube videos on how great West Virginia fans are.
Yep.
I've met them in public at games and at other places that tell me how nice the fan base is. We get a bum rap in the national media sometimes because of a few incidents. Every fan base has got somebody or a few people that act like idiots.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Exactly.
Tim Haynes is in here. Hey, Tim, appreciate you stopping in, man.
What's up, bud?
Mountaineers, Reds, and Bengals.
He shares the misery, man.
I thought the Bengals were facing the Bills next. No, I think the Bills are playing the Chiefs. If I'm not mistaken, or am I wrong on that?
No, I think you're right. Chiefs beat the Steelers. Let's see. Hold on. Crap.
You're right. I better check. I may have misspoke. I need to check that.
Who was the Titans? Who did the Titans play?
Titans had a bye, didn't they?
So that might be who we're playing. We're either playing Cincinnati's either playing the Bills or the Titans, so that's a 50-50 right there.
What seed are you? What seed are the Bengals?
I don't. We were the higher seed because of we had home field advantage. So if I had to guess, we were either the 4 or 5 seed. I can't quite remember though.
Okay,
I want to say the 4 seed. What seed is the Bills?
I don't know that either, to be honest.
If the Bills are the 1 seed and we're the 4 seed, then we wouldn't play.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up right now. I don't like not knowing the answer.
Jeffrey says the 4th seed. What seed? I think the Titans are the 1 seed, so we play the Titans. I think. Yeah,
Bills play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
That's tough. the Titans are the 1 seed, and we got to go to
Yep.
Tennessee.
And the Bengals play the Titans. So yes,
So
I thought that was the case.
what's that running back that Tennessee has? Man, I know who he is, but I can't think of his name right off the top of my head.
Tennessee.
Crap.
Oh, he's the beast.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank too, man.
I
Oh geez, that's
know who
embarrassing.
he is.
That's embarrassing. I can't
Yeah.
think. Somebody in the comment
Hey,
section tell
you
us who the
guys
running
do a
back.
live show one time and try to think names off the top of your head. It's tougher than you realize.
Hey, y'all type the comment in the comment. Who's the Titans running?
Henry.
Derrick Henry.
There we go.
Derrick Henry.
Alabama. I knew it was Alabama guy. I just couldn't place his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
JT can't stay healthy. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. Derrick Henry. Yep.
All right, here's one I wanted to address. What game are you two most excited about? College football. I assume he's meaning West Virginia games.
I mean, that would be the backyard brawl. Easy.
For me, it's probably Tech, just because I live in southern West Virginia, and I'm only an hour from Virginia Tech's campus.
Oh.
So us in the southern part of the state consider Tech a bigger rivalry than Pitt, actually. And I'm also I'll be going to that Tech game more than likely since I'm so close.
I'm going to try to go to that game in Blacksburg. I know I'm going to the game at Pitt. Haven't locked down the Virginia Tech game, so I'll see. Hey, try to get me a ticket, and I got you, man. We'll sit together.
All right. When it gets closer, we'll talk about it.
Right.
Maybe we can even do a live show from there.
Yeah, exactly. I went to the one in Morgantown. I did a live show there. Exactly, man.
Yeah,
it's
when
good.
I went, I wasn't able to do lives yet, so I wasn't able to. But yeah, that would be fun.
Now you can, and it's going to be pretty good.
Yep.
We can set ourselves up a booth and everything, man.
Yep. Yeah, I've actually already been brainstorming some ideas for that. Jimbo Fisher. Yeah, Jimbo. Man, there's been a lot of coaches. Bobby Bowden with West Virginia. Well, Bobby Bowden's not from West Virginia, but he coached here. Then you got Jimbo Fisher is actually from West Virginia. Nick Saban's from West Virginia. Lou Holtz is from West Virginia. You got Rich Rod. He's a good coach. You've got all kinds of West Virginia coaches, man, that are from West Virginia.
Yeah, people don't realize how many great college football coaches are from West Virginia. It's pretty cool.
All right. Jeffrey Russell says he thinks West Virginia's a team on the upswing. Yeah, we hope, man. We hope.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping.
Let's see, Jason.
I'm going to have to hop off here in just a second. The kids about to go to bed.
Yep. One more quick thing before we go, guys. Joey says we need more subs on the West Virginia channel on the Voice of College Football. One more plea to you guys. Please, if you haven't subbed to that channel, please do so. We're trying to build that channel up to 1,000 subscribers. Get us on par with Mark's other channels.
Yes.
Also, please subscribe to Couz's Corner, my channel. Please subscribe to Golden Blue Dude if you haven't. We look forward to doing another one of these soon.
Yeah, I had fun. I wish I could go all night, man, but regular life still exists. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, man. I'm with you too. I was actually getting ready to ask you when you want to shut this baby down.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I had fun, man, and we're definitely going to do it again. And like I said earlier, these live shows are going to have different pairings. You're going to have me and Couz. You're going to have Couz and Mark, me and Mark, and hopefully Sam the Man will get on here as well. That would be great.
Absolutely. We appreciate everybody for hopping on the chat. If we didn't get to your chat, we apologize. We tried. We just had too many to get to. We were doing a conversational format back and forth. So, but anyway, thanks everybody, and we're going to sign off. Good night. Cue Country Roads, by the way.
That's right. Cue it now.
Let's go Mountaineers.